everybody.
Hi, Sue. So happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. It's so lovely to be here too. I hope 13 isn't unlucky though, that's all.
Oh, not at all. So we had another session and we discussed about that 13 is not unlucky at all, because the person, we had Nidhi yesterday, and the only date I gave her was 13, and she was like, Sonia, any date but not 13. And it went fabulous. So I think we have now, it's going to be an amazing session. People are really excited. They all are just like waiting to hear from you. So welcome for our session today for Knowledge Happy Hour, Sue, and it is a privilege to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, to all those who are watching and don't know much about Sue, I have introduced a little bit, but there is so much more about her that I cannot do justice to it. So for all of you, Sue Donelly is AICI CIP, Certified Image Professional, and she's an international award-winning professional and a previous holder of AICI Jane Segerstrom Award. That's one of the highest and most honorable award that anyone can ever get. So she is an award holder of that. She's that award holder. Her mantras include one size does not fit all, and life evolves and style evolves. She's past president, fellow, and master award assessor of the UK Image Industry governing body, which is Federation of Image Professional International. She's also a founding member of Association of Stylists and Image Professional. She's a certified image professional by AICI and the lead trainer and the only master of fashion Feng Shui in the UK. Sue is a certified coach, facilitator, author of 6 books, regular style experts in magazine, TV. She has been sought after speakers at conferences. I know personally Sue's are always jam-packed. And she's also presenting her unique slant on image-related topics all over the world. She says that your image tells your story, so it makes sense to choose what you want to say, to convey personality, principle, and purpose. Wearing the right clothes is empowering, liberating, transformational, and it's also crucial to your physical and mental well-being. And that's just the starting of it. In today's session, she's going to take you through the concept of fashion Feng Shui and wardrobe wellness, and you will get to learn a lot more beyond your understanding of wardrobing is just going to change in today's session. So without further ado, welcome, Sue, and over to you.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Sorry, there's just a little bit of a delay here. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you as well, Sonia, for inviting me. It's a real thrill for me to be talking about something that I love so much. Just before I start, though, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my story and how I actually came across fashion Feng Shui, because I think it's quite important. I trained to be an image consultant, I guess, 2004, I think. So that's about 16 years ago now. And it changed my life. I absolutely loved it. It was one of those things I did on a whim, actually. I worked in a bank before that. And one day I decided I didn't want to, I wanted to be an image professional. So I literally just, threw my notice in, and that was it, really. So yeah, it had to work for me. But the problem was that even though I know I looked good in my clothes, because people told me, the feeling that I got was that I didn't always feel that confident wearing these clothes. So even though that I was wearing the colors and the styles that reportedly suited me, there was a disconnect somewhere that said, okay, so I'm looking good, but I'm not actually feeling that good, and I'm really not sure why that is. So I decided to go literally around the world looking for training and trainers, to find answers, really. That's what I was looking for. And I did go around the world, and I found a lot of very interesting information, which I still use today. But fashion feng shui actually was the one that changed everything for me. Because it wasn't just about the appearance and their personality, it was about other things as well. And one of the real things for me was actually understanding the small things that made me, you know, look good, but actually didn't make me feel good. And it was literally just these small things that I would never have found without this wonderful practice. So it was put together by Maggiore. She was also a member of AICI. She won the IMI award and various other awards. So she was very well. She was also a Feng Shui master, so she knew all about Feng Shui. And previous to her life as an image consultant, she'd actually owned fashion boutiques around the Cape Cod area in the States. So these were, you know, fairly exclusive, where she could really concentrate on giving the clients that she had very good personal service. But she realized that actually there was no Feng Shui in the wardrobe. So even though most of us know Feng Shui as something that we have in our homes or our office environments to make everything harmonious and balanced, you know, a lot of you will have heard about, you know, if you put a plant here, you'll get some more money, or if you know, you put the toilet lid down, your money will stay with you, and all of those kind of things. She realized that actually the most intimate part of our life is our wardrobe, because we have to carry it everywhere we go. You know, a piece of furniture can stay where it is, or it can move into a room, but we're not putting it on our backs every day. What we are doing is wearing clothes every day. And so she really moved what she learned from Feng Shui and put it into fashion Feng Shui. And I will be teaching you the rudiments of that later in this presentation. But basically what she wanted the wardrobe to do at any one time was this. She wanted it to fulfill your essence. Now, obviously all of these I cannot do today, there's just too much here, but your essence in terms of, if you are image professionals, that would be your personality, your wardrobe personality, your style personality, whatever you want to call it. It's what you are when everything else is stripped away. And generally speaking, we are a mix of more than one. But she wanted her clothes, whenever we put them on, to make sure that that essence piece was fulfilled. And essence really is the whole core of this program, of this philosophy. Obviously, she wanted the clothes to flatter your appearance. I think that goes without saying. I don't think any of us are going to wear clothes that make us look awful. Well, maybe, perhaps if we're really creative, but generally speaking, we want to look good as well. Functioning for your lifestyle. Now, that's a really interesting one in these coronavirus days, because, you know, our lifestyles have all changed. And there are lots and lots of people now that were influencers who now are earning no money. There are people talking about fashion and other people going, but I'm not bothered actually anymore about what I look like. You know, it's a really interesting time now, because most of us aren't even leaving the house. So the days that I had of being in front of a big audience on a stage, they've all gone. And I guess it's the same for most of us. So what is our lifestyle like now, and how can we wear clothes that function for that lifestyle? And that's what I'm going to be concentrating on mostly today. And also fortifying you to attract your attention is the two of them together, I think. But the biggest part probably is about this fortification, because most of us are feeling things we've never felt before as well. And we need something to bolster us, to give us confidence, to make us brave, to make us feel nurtured, or whatever it is. And you can do that with people, you can do it with food, but you can also do it with clothes. And that will be a big part of what I'm talking about today. And of course, fostering your relationships. Obviously, we none of us live in a vacuum. And one of the things that we can do through our wardrobe, as we all know, if you are in the image world, is you wear clothes to help you when you're in front of other people, whatever that might be. So those are the 5 things that Fashion Feng Shui really looks at. And it comes really in a kind of wheel format, because, as you know, Sonia quite rightly said, one of my mantras is life evolves, style evolves, and we all evolve. None of us ever stay still. And certainly one of the things that I came across as an image professional when I was going into other people's houses is how many clients had stayed still. You know, they've been told years ago, this is your colour, this is your style, and then they've never moved on. Well, things have to move on. So we've put it into a wheel format so that it's evolutionary and it's revolutionary as well. Because what we are inside probably doesn't change, but everything else can and does. And sometimes we do it on purpose, so I can change my appearance by having my hair cut or dyeing it a different colour, for instance. Lifestyle changes, our relationships change, and what we want in our lives changes as well. So that's why we've put it into a circular form. My own feeling around wellness is that what we wear is actually as important to us, physically and mentally, as getting enough sleep and eating the right food. Because I know, for instance, that if I'm in the wrong clothes, I just do not function properly. I just don't function properly, even if it's only because I'm not feeling as confident as maybe I should do. But we all want to feel our best most of the time, and our clothes can help us do that. So some of you may not know this, but Feng Shui, thousands of years old, if I ask anybody who doesn't know anything about Feng Shui, what they generally say is, oh, it's that thing where people come in and you get qi running through your house. So I can find a partner, or I can have more money, or I get the job of my dreams, or I'm going to travel. And yes, that is part of what Feng Shui is all about. But actually, Feng Shui started as a medicine, a medicinal philosophy, which is still carried out today. So if any of you ever have acupuncture, the traditional Chinese TCM acupuncture, what they are doing is trying to release blockages within the body by sticking needles in certain parts of you, very fine needles, so that it unblocks the energy, so that you don't get disease. So they're letting, by putting these tiny little pins into certain parts of your body, they're opening up the channels so that the qi, the energy, whatever you want to call it, flows around the body without anything to stop it. And as I say, that's been going on for 3,000 or 4,000 years. So the fact that it's now moved into houses, homes, and now the wardrobe is just taking that philosophy, which is about energy moves, and taking it into environments rather than the environment that we live in, which is our body. And you'll notice here on this particular diagram that there are the 5 elements, which you will know off by heart by the end of this hour: water, wood, fire, metal, and earth. And all of those 5 elements are actually related to parts of the body. And so when they are well, then they are doing good things, and we have good energy from that particular organ. But if there's a blockage, then we go to the more negative side of the emotions, and that's what I'm going to be talking about more today. And I think that it's just a really interesting thing that I found out that in Fashion Feng Shui, when we find out what we are as our essence, often we find how we're relating to this terrible virus and what's happening to us, how we relate to that, how our emotions come out in that, is to do with these 5 as well. It's all very, very interesting. So the theory behind the Chinese medicine then is a living body is imbued with this qi, and it's fundamental for healthy functioning. And so fashion feng shui and feng shui in homes is basically based on that same belief. So here we have the 5 elements: water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And feng shui believes that, if you like, they are the link between earthly things, whether it's plant, vegetable, mineral, person, and the cosmos, if you like. And if that's a bit woo-woo, that's fine, because it is for me too. So, so you know, you don't have to grab all of this, really. Just grab the bits that you want. But basically, there are the 5: water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And each one of them is very, very different. And so I'd like to go through that now with you, just so that you get a little bit of a sense of how they are and how they kind of show up in the world. So water then, if you imagine a big expanse of water, like an ocean or a big sea or a lake, if there is no sunlight on it, it is can also be very deep. Of course, some water doesn't have to be deep. You could have a puddle, which isn't quite so deep. But generally speaking, water has depth and it is very, very dark. It's said that every single wave is completely unique. And each one of them is asymmetrical. So you'll never get a wave that's actually symmetrical on both sides. And what that does is kind of give a real flow, a wave and a flow to the whole of the way that the water moves. So we know that it's very fluid. And for instance, if I was to take a big jug of water and you're sitting at a table and I started to pour the water over the table, it doesn't get to the edge of the table and think, oh, Sonia's sitting there, I'll just stop. It doesn't care whether Sonia's there or not. It's going to keep pouring over the edges as long as I keep pouring out of the jug. So it has no boundaries as such. You know, it kind of goes where it wants to go. It goes with the flow. It also takes in a lot of what is around it. So again, if I have this jug of water, and I put some orange juice in it, it will turn orange. So it's taking on the concepts and the characteristics of something else. It takes it all in. So in terms of these 5 elements, we think of water as being the most sensitive, because it really is in tune with what's going on around it really. So it's one of these that cannot be contained. It goes where it goes. It can be really deep or it can be a little shallow. It is sensitive and it changes. I mean, not only does it change colour, but I mean, if you think about water, it's not very predictable because it can be frozen, in which case it becomes reflective. It can be boiled, so it becomes steam. So it can be hot and it can be cold. It can make beautiful snowflakes. It can do mist or fog, or it can be torrential. So it can cause chaos, actually, if it wants to. So it can be very powerful and unpredictable. In terms of Feng Shui, these 5 elements are also related to times of day and times of the year. Now, the times of the year may not be so prevalent in your area of the world, but in my area of the world, they really are. So water is based on our winter, because our winter is the darkest season and it's also the wettest. In terms of the time of day, then it is nighttime, because again, that is the darkest time of our day. So this is what it's like. It's very unpredictable. And here we have a coral, and you can see there's no beginning and there's no end. It just goes where it wants to go, whenever it wants to go, however it wants to go. And we think of water as being quite creative in terms of its characteristics. So if we move on to wood then, this is very different. So wood then is about dynamism, it's about vitality, it's about action. And here we have a huge tree. And if you think about trees, unless you actually chop one down, they're pretty indestructible. They just go on and they go on and they're heading for the sun. You know, they grow upwards. So whether it's a bamboo plant or a little plant that's going to have a flower on the end, or a tree, they grow upwards, they're strong, they're invincible. And the colours that we associate with wood are blues and greens. These would be the blues and greens that are mid-tones, so sky blue, grass green, cornflower blue, lime green, things like that. So they're not dark and they're not light. So those are the colours that we look at. The shape of this, so like the water was all very fluid and very wavy, this is literally a straight line. It's straight up and down. And we always think of wood as being plant-based. It is, in terms of the time of day, the beginning of the day, the dawn time, because in the UK and elsewhere, we think of wood as being spring-like. And in the spring, it's like new beginnings. You know, we've hibernated away in the winter, or we used to before we had electricity. And this is our new awakening. We're getting up in the morning with a spring in our step, ready to start the day. And so wood is a kind of starting energy, if you like. It's very fast. It's got no boundaries. It doesn't really see that anything is ever in its way. So you see this little plant here shooting through the tarmac. It only might be small, but my God, it's going to get where it wants to go. Nothing is going to stop it. So it's completely different from the go with the flow water. This is a like, let's get on with it and nothing is going to stop me type of thing. So it's very, very active. Fire. So fire, this is something that, you know, is completely radiant. You cannot miss fire, either because it's hot, so you can actually feel it, or it's because it is so light. So here we have a perfect example of something that would stop us in our tracks, fireworks. You know, everybody kind of stops when you see fireworks. It's the same with lightning. You know, you see it in the sky and you're attracted to it like a magnet. You have to stop and watch it because it's beautiful, it's exciting, it's crackling. It's got all that kind of energy that says, look at me. That's what it's like. So the colours that we associate with fire are reds and purples and any other colour that might be in a flame or might be really bright. So things like magentas and fuchsias and bright oranges and bright yellows would be in this particular energy. The shape of it is very angular. If you see the fire down in the bottom there, it's kind of an inverted V shape. That is the shape that we have with fire. So it's a V or a diamond shape. And generally it's light or life-based. So we think of things lighting up the sky, lighting up a room. We think of animals as well. Animals often fit into fire because people with a lot of fire, which would be the essence bit, seem to have a gravity towards animals for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But they need to be, this is a kind of energy that needs to be in the spotlight. Hello, look at me, I'm here. So the time of year would be the hottest time of year in my country, which is the summertime. So it would be really, really hot. And also lunchtime, which again is the midpoint of the day when the sun is at its highest. And it's often when people get together, you know, summer holidays, going out for lunch together. I mean, you know, hopefully we'll get back to that at some point. So it's a kind of a life-based energy in the fact that people are getting together, they're connecting with one another. And that's really what fire is all about, bringing people together. So it's magnetic and it's dramatic. So this again is completely different. This is Earth. As we can see from the pictures, there's no magnetism here. So in normal kind of formation, what we're talking about here in Earth is literally the Earth. It's the ground. And the colours that we associate with Earth are those earthy colours. So browns, yellows, any derivation of those. So we're talking about tans and camels. We're not talking about chocolate here because that would fit into water, but we're talking about these mid-browns. The shape that we look at is square. And everything about Earth is soil-based. Now, the Earth is often the one that we take for granted. I mean, if you were to get out of bed one day and put your feet on the Earth and it wasn't there, I think we'd all be a bit shocked. You know, we take it for granted. The earth is always there. It's always there to support us. It's there to support our feet. It's there to support our diets. You know, through the earth, we get vegetables, we get fruits, you know, things grow, crops grow, animals feed from the earth. And so it's something that, you know, it's called Mother Earth for a reason. It looks after us. And sometimes we take this one for granted. So the time of year for me would be late summer. So it's still hot, but it's not as hot as summer. And that tends to be around the September when, certainly in my country anyway, we're bringing in the harvest. We're celebrating a harvest. And often churches here have harvest festivals when people will bring in, you know, all the new vegetables and fruits, and we kind of, you know, celebrate them, if you like. But Mother Earth is, it is like having a big hug. That's what this whole energy is like. It's comforting, and it tends to be very traditional. So if you see this, the little picture at the bottom there with the little baby girl and the lady holding it, that is the kind of energy that we are looking at. This is the element. It's a very nurturing element. And then last but not least, we have metal, which is very polished, very refined, very luxurious. You can see from these pictures here, this is the high end of life. There's not a thing out of place. It's scary for me to even look at this picture. Because I know I would go in and I would spill my coffee, or I would do something to just mess that up completely. So it's very scary for me. But this is a kind of polished, it's luxurious, it's high end, it's finishing off the day, it's finishing off the year before we go to hibernate in the winter. So these are the pale colors, whites, pastels, metallics as well are all also in here. The shape that we associate with this is round, and it's ore based. So it's about being organized, it's about being ordered, it's about elegance, gracefulness, refinement. And here we see we have a cluster of beautiful round diamonds there. So there's the whole thing about metal is very elegant. And it's really, in my country anyway, it's the end of the day. So this is when we get together and we have a really lovely dinner before we go to sleep. In terms of the year, it's the autumn time, which, as I say, is in the old days anyway, winter would be a hibernatory type of season. So this is kind of finishing off everything. So those are the 5 elements. And in Fashion Feng Shui, basically, we give all of those elements personas, if you like. So when you come to work with Fashion Feng Shui, we do a lot of work on this, and you'll find that some of those characteristics that I've just gone through relate very easily to people's characteristics. And so the work that we do mainly in Fashion Feng Shui to start with is find people's essences. So are you a contemplator, a crusader, a captivator, a caregiver, or a connoisseur? And I always laugh and say, some of these people you'll love, and some of them, mm-mm. And I'm guessing if I was to do that now, which we're not going to do, of course, but with all of us maybe hunkering down with people that we don't normally live with for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a lot of this is coming out that, you know, well, I am one of them and you're the other, and actually we've got nothing in common whatsoever, and we get tension. So we can often get stress and tension from the people that we're living with or the people that we're working with, as well as what's going on in the environment over which we have no control. But today, we don't have time to go into all of that, as I said. But these personas also do other things. So when we were looking at the wheel that I showed you before, the wellness wheel, they will also help with these as well. So yes, I've just mentioned essence. I mentioned appearance before. Lifestyle and relationships, yes, those are very, very important. But the one I'm going to look at today, it does look at lifestyle, but mainly what I want to do today is spend the rest of the time we've got together so that you can take something away that you can do every single day to make sure that you are not only feeling well within these period that is, oh, you know, we just don't know what's going to happen, we've got no control of it, but also it may help you get what you really want in your life right now. As Sonia said earlier at the beginning, you know, sometimes we can look at these as negative times because of all the things that we're prevented from doing. But actually, if we want to turn that around, we could look at this as positive and say, okay, now I've got the time to do whatever it was that I said I was going to do, but before I didn't have the time to do it. So I'm hoping that this next bit will allow you to let your imagination flow, and I will be able to help you just by doing little tweaks every day. So I'm not even going to tell you to change your wardrobes at all. There are no pictures of clothes in this. There's no pictures of fashion whatsoever. It's small tweaks. That's all it is, small tweaks. So let's have a look then at each of these elements as a person with an intention. So I said earlier that each of these organs had, each of these elements had an organ behind them. And interestingly, I see the organs in the body. I relate it back to a board of directors, or any team actually. And if one of them goes off sick, the others can kind of do the job for a while. But if one goes off sick for a long time, actually the others are struggling because it's not their profession, it's not their expertise. And so once one's gone off and it's not fixed or not replaced, then the rest of the team, if you like, starts to suffer as well, which is why I think this is so important. So this may even sound like you, I don't know, but if maybe you have a lot of water in you, what you may be feeling or did feel when this first started was fearfulness or vulnerability. Water is to do with the bladder and the kidneys, actually, as you might suggest, because of the water. But what comes up when it's not in a good place is fearfulness and feeling very vulnerable. So if you're thinking about that, then it may be that you've got too much water in you at the moment and you need to change it for something else. But the intention behind the contemplator is to just be. So if you are feeling fearful or vulnerable, then maybe what you need to do is let go of that and just try to be. And the water will help you with that. So you can see here there's a lady sitting doing yoga and meditation. That's a very watery thing to do. Just sit there and let it all wash over her if you like. She's still concentrating, but she's basically going with the flow. And that's what water will help you do. And I will give you what you need for all of these later. So if you want to, as I go through them, maybe make a note and go, I need a bit of wood, or I need a bit of fire, or whatever it is, that would be a good thing to do. Now, water is also very creative. So you may feel in this time that some of these things are things that maybe you would really like to have a go at. So things like becoming an artist. So that could be painting, it could be drawing, it could be sewing, you know, making things, designing things. It could be writing a book, creating an online offering, or creating any kind of workshops. Anything where you're creating something generally is water. So if you feel that you want to start creating something in this time we've got left, then water will be your friend, the contemplator. If you decide that you want to be free, you need more freedom, even if you haven't got the freedom to go and do what you want, but you want to feel like you've got freedom, feel like you've got space inside of you, then water is what you will need. If you feel that you have to have wisdom, people are coming to you and asking lots of questions and you can't answer them, then again, introspection and wisdom are two things that the contemplator is actually very good at. So it doesn't mean to say that you have to be good at them, but water will give you those things. If you want to be individual, I saw some lovely Instagram posts of a couple of people not too far from where I live who are journalists who have always had wardrobes full of clothes. I mean, really stunning clothes. And so they're taking their bins out with tiaras and ball gowns. But they've made it so creative that you have to laugh, you know, because they've made it theirs. They don't think it's madness to go out in a ball gown to take the rubbish out. And it's just so creative. It just makes you laugh. It's just lovely. So serenity, wisdom, depth, creativity, artistry, introspection, and freedom. These are some of the things that water can give you. As we know, wood is very different. Wood is a doer. Wood is about action. And often what we find if you have a lot of wood in you is that when things don't go your way, you get very angry or very frustrated. I am a wood. I know this. And so often, if I can't do anything, if I'm prevented from actually doing anything, I can just feel myself getting so angry because I want to go out there and I want to start things and I can't start them. And so this is what happens. It's a liver, the organ is the liver. And the liver is the one that sorts everything out while we're asleep. So if it starts to get really frustrated, it doesn't do a good job with your sleep either. So, you know, you can find that you have sleepless nights because your liver's not functioning properly. So it is about doing. It's also, you'll be pleased to know, about being healthy as well. So if you want to lose weight, or if you want to start eating better than you did before and not just, you know, eating lots of rice all the time and cornflakes and chocolate bars, then the wood, the Crusader, might be what you need, because you will start to look at the green, you know, the green vegetables, the green salads, all of those kind of things. Wood is also about expansion and learning. So for me, for instance, I'm taking a new course with Oxford University on visual arts. It's brand new for me. I have no idea whether I'll be any good at it or not, but I'm starting it and I'm really looking forward to it because I need to learn something new. It's a very motivational kind of energy. So again, if you feel a bit lethargic and you need that oomph to get up and go, then wood is what will motivate you to do it. Or you could use that motivation to help somebody else do something because you can be their champion. Crusaders make the best coaches because they see that you have the ability, even if you don't see you have the ability. So they have tenacity, they have a love of adventure. So again, why not try something new now? Because actually, nobody cares whether it's successful or not in this day and age, because we're all hunkered together. Nobody knows. This maybe is the time that you can have a little mini adventure, and even if it all goes wrong, it doesn't actually matter. It's the adventure that counts, not the outcome. So wood really then is about movement, it's about being healthy, it's about learning, it's about vitality, it's about action, and it's about innovation. Fire the Captivator. So, of course, Fire the Captivator is all about me, 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 look at me, look at me. I need to have joy, I need to have excitement. And now we're stuck in our own in a flat. Who's going to see me? So straight away, people with a lot of fire are either panicking, oh my God, what am I going to do when I can't see anybody? You know, what am I going to do with how I fix my connection to people, which is what they really need? Or a lack of joy. There is no joy in my life anymore because I can't go out and have a cocktail. I can't go out and meet people. I can't be the star of the show anymore. I can't wear my glamorous outfits. So how do we use that to help us? Well, I think it is all about connection. So for people that have an intention to excite, I think this is about making sure that you connect with other people, even if it's like this. You know, webinars, Skype, thank goodness for Zoom. If you didn't have shares in Zoom before, wow, we should have all had them now, shouldn't we? You know, what would we do without technology and all of this kind of thing? It's really about finding fun in whatever is available to you. So it could even be a new television program, a film, something like that. It doesn't matter, but you need to find some joy. So find what your passion is and do things with your passions right now. It is about enthusiasm. So with fire, they need to be enthusiastic all the time. And it doesn't actually matter what that enthusiasm is about. It could be watching the birds in your garden. It could be watching something grow. It could be, I don't know, trying on a new outfit every day and keeping a wardrobe planner of what you've worn. Maybe that lady that was taking the bins out in all of her glamour, you know, part of it was creative, but part of it was very dramatic as well, because that's fire too. But it's about living, laughing and loving, and about having to find a way to do that. So people with a lot of fire are really good at putting other people in touch with one another. And so we need you to do that. Earth, of course, is the caregiver. This is the one that we all need at some point over this. The one that we ignore, the one that we tread on, forget it's even there, is probably the most important one at the moment, because Earth is the one that is going to be nurturing for all of us. If you are Earth, and strangely, not many people in the image business are, because they don't care about clothes or what they look like generally, it is worrying, being anxious, overthinking that keeps them awake at night. Worrying about other people often, not worrying about themselves, worrying about people who are ill, people who are self-isolating, people who can't get out and get food and so on. But the caregiver is the one that will nurture either yourself or other people. So it's about really looking at consistency, commitment to people. I mean, I don't know about where you live, but where I live, I only live in a small town, but 700 people have volunteered to, you know, bring shopping round to people who can't get out, which is fantastic, really. This is where the caregivers, you know, are in their own, really. They make sure that we're all right. So if you haven't got anybody that can do that for you, then you need to do that for yourself. You need to nurture yourself. You need to care for yourself. And if that means lying in bed all day, that's fine. You know, there's no guilt trip here. It's about doing what you need to do. It's about supporting yourself and trusting yourself and having compassion for yourself, being kind to others, but more importantly, being kind to yourself. Because if you look after yourself, you're then in a position to look after other people. And the last one is the connoisseur. This is about refinement and order. I have a friend who earns a lot of money. And the first thing that happened when she heard about this and how she couldn't earn that money anymore was she cried. Grief. Grief, sadness is part of the connoisseur's way of dealing with things. Also shame. Even though maybe there is no reason to be ashamed, this is nothing to do with anybody. This has come upon us and there's nothing we can do. But shame is often a part of it as well. And this is really about getting things into order. So the Marie Kondo, she would fit in here quite well. Let's sort everything out. Let's get everything into order so we can see what we've got and what we haven't got. And she has a point. If you make space in all of your cupboards, closets, wardrobes, whatever, there is room for new things to come in. If it's all cluttered and pressed together, there is no room. You get stuck, you get stagnant, whether that's trying to do something new, meet somebody new, lose weight, whatever it is. If you've got a wardrobe or cupboards that are stuck and full of stuff, you'll never be able to do it. So this is always a good one to do anyway. So this is about bringing beauty into your life. Where can you find beauty? It's about organization, as I said, ordering. I mean, it's not just about cupboards, is it? It's about looking at your laptop and going, okay, do I really need all these emails? Do I really need all this stuff? Can I get rid of some? Do I really need all these people on Facebook? Can I get rid of some of these things just to simplify and streamline my life? Because it's all up here, isn't it? It all weighs on our brain if we have all this stuff that we're supposed to be doing, when actually maybe we don't need to do it. It's about quality as well. You know, am I putting quality in my life? Am I eating the best food I can at this time for me? You know, I guess sustainability is a word that's been bandied around, but now we really need to be sustainable in a way. If I am buying new stuff, am I buying quality rather than lots of tatty stuff? You know, am I buying something that's beautiful, something that means something to me? It's about mastery and excellence. So this again is the time, if you want to learn something or get better at something that you've already been doing, this is the time to do it. And to be more precise about things maybe. But it's a time to declutter and organize your life. So how do we do that then? This is the best bit. So hopefully you all made a few notes about what might be important. And remember, these can change from day to day, because they've certainly changed for me in the 3 weeks we've been in lockdown. Life evolves, style evolves. So nature then in Feng Shui is made up of 3 things. And when you might have noticed when I went through the 5 elements, they all had a color, they all had a shape, they all had a substance. When we move it into fashion Feng Shui, we extend that slightly into hue, which is color for the uninitiated, pattern and silhouette, which is the shape, and texture and fabric, which is the substance. So if you would like to add some more water into your life, and you can do any of these, you don't have to do all of them. So this is really just going to your closet or your wardrobe every day and going, I want some water in my life. What can I choose? So first of all, black or dark tones. If you remember, I said that water was deep and it was dark. So anything that is dark. So it can be chocolate brown, burgundy, maroon, navy blue, forest green, anything. It doesn't have to be black. But anything black, straight away, you put in water. You'll see I've got some water on here. I'll tell you why later. Anything that's asymmetrical, what does that mean? Well, it can mean that it's got an uneven hem, it's got one shoulder, for instance, it's got one sleeve longer than the other, or it may be an asymmetrical pattern, like at the bottom there, there's a paisley print. It's not even, it's abstract. That's probably another word for it. So it's not the same on one side to the other, it's random. So anything that's abstract, anything that's asymmetrical, anything that's really unique as well will fit in to the water element. In terms of fabrications, we're talking about fluidity. So anything that's sheer, anything that kind of really floats around, is really fluid, is the best type of water, but also things like velvet will come into this because it changes color kind of as you walk around. So depending on your climate, you know, you could use that velvet as well. But what we're looking at here is for things that really flow around the body. They're not stiff, they're not straight. They give you the freedom to move as you wish. So black and dark tones, anything that's asymmetrical, anything that's abstract, anything that's fluid or sheer. And in that, I'm also talking about things like things that reflect. So glass or crystal, you know, earrings. I mean, this can be, you know, in your accessories. It doesn't have to just be in your clothes. Oops, I've just missed one out. Okay, wood. So anything that's blue or green, and remember, this is mid-tones. So the colours that we've got on this slide are perfect in terms of those colours. It has to be a straight shape or a straight pattern. So anything with the stripe, straight away is wood. Stripy t-shirt is obvious. But things, again, depending on where you live. If you have a pair of trousers that have a corduroy fabrication, the lines are up and down. Anything with a stripe going straight up and down on a trouser would also work, or on a skirt, or the whole tunic top, the dress, the shirt is straight. There's no waist in it at all. It has to be straight to be part of the wood element. And this is the easy bit. It can be plant-based. So that means that you could have a plant pattern, like the floral pattern that we've got there. It's got a flower on it. But anything from a plant. So as soon as you put on a pair of blue jeans, you're wearing wood. A cotton t-shirt, you're wearing wood. Anything to do with these new yoga type of fabrics as well, you know, like bamboo and hemp, it's wood. Linen is wood, cotton is wood. So anything that derives from a plant and you're putting wood on, regardless of the colour, it doesn't matter about the colour, as soon as you put something on that's plant-based, then you are wearing some wood. Fire. As you remember, this is the kind of hello, I'm here, look at me. So these are the bright colours. So in a way, actually, Sonia, I think your jacket is bright blue. It's really bright blue. So that could almost be a bit of fire. And both of us have got the bright lipstick on, right? So there's always got to be a bit of fire for me. If I don't have bright lipstick on, I'm in bed. That's it. So reds and purples, the bright pinks, the bright oranges, the bright yellows, anything that attracts the attention, basically, colour-wise, is fire. A pointed shape. So if you are still wearing shoes in the house, a pointed pointed toe, like a stiletto, that kind of thing, that would work. A V-neck would work as well. Anything with a diamond kind of pattern or print on the sweater or the dress or the shirt, that would work as well. A life and light base, what that means is it's got to kind of show some light. So things like satins and silks that shine, sequins, absolutely. Anything jewelry wise that's really blingy would come in here. And if we're looking at life, then we're talking about animal prints, all animal prints. So you see here, you've got a leopard print, you could have a zebra print, or you could wear things, even if it's not real, from an animal. So suede, leather, patterned leather, feathers, anything like that, fur, even if it's not real, comes from, it will be in the fire element. Earth, this is the one that people go, not really sure about this. Yellows and browns don't suit everybody, I know, these kind of colours, you know, camels and tan and that kind of thing. But again, you can have a handbag, a pair of shoes, it's fine. Square shape, so that's a check or a gingham, or it could be a square-shaped jacket, cardigan, you know, more of a boxy shape, that would work as well. And it's got some kind of texture to it, so it's nabbed or nubby. And interestingly, this is where I found myself going when COVID-19 first hit us. I found, because I was angry and frustrated, I need to calm down, I need to be nurtured, I really needed to feel like I was safe, and this is where I went. And I found that all these paler stones and beiges and all those kind of colours, actually in thicker woolly fabrics, were the kind of things that I really wanted to wear. Now I've moved on, I'm back to water, going with the flow. I don't know what's going to happen, and I actually have given up worrying about it. I'm just going with whatever's going. And I found that in 3 weeks has changed substantially for me. So I've gone from one to another straight away. And I want to start creating stuff as well. Metal. Metal is really about all the light tones, so any of the pastels. Again, I did have a little bit of time when I went into pastels too, because I wanted to get organized. I wanted to throw out all the stuff I didn't need anymore, because this was the perfect time for that. So pastels, anything with a metallic sheen. This isn't kind of sequins, bling. This is kind of very subtle, very luxurious. Rounded shapes. So it could be a rounded earring. My glasses are a round shape. Polka dots, things like that would be there. And anything that's refined, high-end and shimmering are the things that you would wear. Metal doesn't really do a lot of pattern, actually, because it's too loud. So polka dots are about the most that you get in this kind of design element. It tends to be plain colours, really. But the rounded pattern will be something that we have there. So this is what I would suggest, and I'll take some questions from you if we've still got time. Every time you get dressed, ask yourself, how am I feeling today? So this is the first thing, how am I feeling today? It's not a bad thing to ask yourself every single day anyway, actually, how am I feeling? What do I want to feel? Or what do I want to accomplish if you're using this time to do something differently? And then ask yourself, okay, so what clothing choices will help me do that? And remember, you don't have to wear the whole lot. It can be just a colour. It can be just a pattern, a silhouette, a texture, or a fabrication. It can be any of those things. It doesn't have to be all of them. being mindful really springs to mind when I'm talking about this. So instead of throwing on the first thing that comes to, you open the door, it's about looking through and taking, some time to go, okay, how am I going to honor myself today by choosing the right thing for me? And it may be you even have to change it later on in the day. There is something called enclosed cognition, which was an experiment done by two psychologists who put a whole load of people in white coats. They told half of the people that they were lab technicians, and they split them into three, I think: lab technicians, doctors, and painters and decorators. And then went back to see how they'd all got on. And the ones that thought they were doctors had done better. The ones who thought they were lab assistants were kind of in the middle, and the ones who were painters and decorators didn't do very well at all, just because of the clothing. That was the only thing that was different. They had different feelings about the clothing. So it doesn't even matter that my water and your water are different. It's what you think is water is what's going to be helpful. There is also a professor called Ellen Langer who said, if you're mindful every day, you will stay more youthful. So if you don't do it for any other reason, then I would do it for that. So I'm going to say stay safe and be well, and finish with, of course, namaste. But I think questions, if there are any questions or comments, I'll be really happy to take any. And hopefully I haven't overrun too much.
No, not at all, Sue. And I didn't even realize what time it was because I was so intrigued with the whole session. It was so insightful, and I've been reading comments. Like everyone in the audience actually resonate and is with me. They are finding it insightful, interesting, a fresh perspective, mind-blowing. This is so great. This is so interesting. And there's just like, I think 70, 80 comments already, which I'll...
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so important to me, so I spread the love.
There is a lot of love coming at you, and you can just, go on Facebook after the session and read the comments, and you would just see that how much people are enjoying this. It was really, really amazing and really wonderful. So thank you so much for this.
You're very welcome, and thank you for asking me.
It was our pleasure. Now I have questions for you, and I have question number 1, which is from Rohan, and it is somewhat even I had in my mind. And the question is that, is it negative? My question was not the word negative, but he's asking if one identifies with more than one element according to Feng Shui, is it negative thing? I wanted to ask, is it all right?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. One of the things that we learn when you go through the whole process is that some people have all of them in their makeup,
yes.
All 5.
Yes.
And other people maybe only have 2, maybe 3. The intention and the lifestyle, of course, will change all the time anyway. Mm-hmm. The appearance, the essence probably won't change. The appearance, not so much unless, you choose to change it. But lifestyle will change a lot. Intention can change every single day.
Right.
And obviously, if you want to dress for your relationships, that may well change too.
Right.
Interestingly, when I have people and we go through all of the work about essence, and people go, but I'm all of them, 99.9% they're water, because water flows everywhere. It takes on the external. So water, more than any of the others, can step into that gap when somebody's ill and take over. Right. Because they can. Sooner or later they'll be exhausted, but they can. So generally speaking, if somebody thinks they're all of them, then it's water. But no, that's absolutely not negative. That's the great thing about this whole practice, that you can be, completely different to other people, or you and I, Sonia, could be the same, but we might have different percentages of the two, which again will show us as being similar but different.
Different. Wonderful. Yeah. Yes, that's really, it makes now the understanding much more clear. Another one that is by Sunita, she's asking, do we actually instinctively reach out to the colors and patterns that we may be needing in our lives?
I think some people do. And I think those people are the ones that have a sixth, you know, the gut instinct.
Right.
And generally speaking, people are split into two. Some people are more intuitive and some people are more sensing. So some people will go with that sixth sense and go, right, I don't know why, but I need to wear red today. Other people will need to go back to the past and go, okay, if I need red today, why? You know, and start ticking off. I need red because when I was in this situation before, the red helped me. People with a sixth instinct will just know anyway, and maybe there's no logic behind it, they just know. So you know, we are very different in that respect. The good thing is, if we eat really well, so this is wood, everybody. Eat your greens, lots and lots of greens, eat healthily, and the gut, which used to be our second brain years ago, once that gets happy, there's a big communication channel from the gut to the brain called the vagus nerve. And if the gut's happy, the brain's happy.
Right. Wow.
Not the other way around. Most stuff is it's the other way around. This has to be happy and then that's happy. No. Feed your stomach and feed it well, and then you'll be happier up here as well.
Wow. All right.
Lots of wood.
And that's just made me realize that there's so much more to learn about this topic, because you can just dive so much deeper, because
that's why I loved it, because there's always something new to learn. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, Sunita, you got your answer, and that's why maybe you choose all these different designs and different looks every day. Yes?
Some people just can't explain why, they just know, and I think, great, you know, go with it, because you know, I would love a bit more of that.
Absolutely. The next question that we have is, can someone have a trait, one trait or element that is more dominant? That's the case. Yes. If that's the case, how to change this?
I would never say you can change your behavior. You can't change who you are.
Absolutely.
So I think, you know, you have to accept that you are you, and the gifts and talents that you have, and maybe there are some that you'll never have. Like I can't draw, for instance. I just cannot, and I can't sew. You know, that's it. I can appreciate other people, but I can't do it myself. And I think the only thing that you can do is, if you are with somebody where being you as you are is going to kind of upset them. So it's somebody that maybe it's a work colleague or something. Only you can change your behavior towards them. You cannot change who you are, but you may be able to set an intention so that your relationship with that person changes through what you wear.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So you can literally use this to just maybe in your relationship also, if you have the understanding.
You've got to want to do it, of course.
Yes, of course.
Mention there.
Right. So true. Very true about that. All right. And another question that is coming in from Jerusha: is it advisable for a person to include all the 5 elements in daily living?
Yes, I love that. I love that. Often when I'm doing a session, you know, live in front of a class that I've never met before, even though some of those, I mean, earth, I have very little earth, I'll be honest. I just don't have any really at all. So I'll always wear, I don't know whether you can see this watch.
Right, yes, yes, they can.
So that's my earth.
Okay.
I've got something on, right. Wow. So it just helps me in case there is somebody in the audience that has a lot of earth, and I feel I've got something to help me connect with them if I want to. Talking of that as well, sometimes people, when we get back to the real world, sometimes people will be in a job where they have to wear a certain uniform. Right. So you know, the legal profession, nurses as well, of course, doctors, have to wear a certain uniform.
Right.
But inside they want to be fire.
Right.
So what I would say is underwear.
Ah, absolutely, yes.
You can do it.
Yes.
Other people don't have to know, you know.
True.
What is your secret, but it doesn't, you know. And so basically you have set that intention, right, in your job or with that person who you need to connect with or whatever. They don't need to know that, but you know. And as long as you know, that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Now it explains why I always wear a certain color under my power suits.
Really, there you go.
Yes, that's very wonderful. I have a few more questions, and this is I want to ask because we've been having a lot of conversation on Facebook while the session was going on, and everyone was sharing their inputs on it. And then they also follow in image consulting, these personality styles. So we are having this discussion that is it classic or is it dramatic or is it romantic. So is it something that it contradicts with the personality style or it works along? Like, how would you put it?
I think for some people it will fit in very well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say that somebody with a lot of metal is city chic because
Right,
it's high end and it's, but generally people have more than one with this. And then you've got the appearance and everything as well.
right,
I will tell you what happened to me. I said at the very beginning that it didn't work for me.
right.
The reason being is because I did the old-fashioned seasonal style when it was just the 4 years ago,
True.
and I fitted into summer.
Ah, okay.
And I guess that's right. I guess that's right. But I said to you as well when I showed you that metal picture with all the white, and it was giving palpitations. That's summer. Really, pale colours, pastels, all of it. And so suddenly, even though my colouring may be metal, if you like, I am not metal. And the idea of wearing these paler colours all the time fills me with horror. And so I think that was one of the reasons why, because I'm not metal essentially, it didn't work. Also, I'm not high end, I'm not chic, I'm not any of those things at all. Those are very masculine look to me that did not fit with city chic. So I think in fashion feng shui we do have our own, but we also really love clients to make up their own style statements. So it makes it more personal, it makes it more unique. So that's what I would say. So there is some of it there, yes, absolutely, but not absolutely by the book, no.
Okay. So if I have to, and this goes back to that statement that you made, which is you look at organs as the board of directors and they all need to work together. So somewhere, does it really sink in with the same thing that you could be summer and that's just taking care of one element, but the rest of the elements are like, are still lacking and they are not getting that.
That's why I think that the question that somebody asked was a really good question about wearing all 5. It's about balance and harmony. The whole thing is about balance and harmony. So even though you are, being very true to yourself and what you want in your life, we always suggest that your way, of course, you have to do it your way. You add in, whatever is missing. Most people only have one that generally just isn't there. And as I said, with me, it's earth. But I always have some earth things in my closet. It might not always be the colours because I don't like those colours. So why would I put those into my wardrobe if I don't like them? I don't enjoy them. But I do like a check. So I've got a few kind of squares and checks that enough for me. That's enough. Yeah.
Some reason, sorry, I don't want the session to end at all. I have like so much to ask and so much to discuss. I'll just read out a few comments. Never thought in this perspective, quite insightful. So my kind of a topic and subject. Okay, so she's relating with it. Sunita is saying, wow, the insights and the perspective, amazing, very interesting. It's also Feng Shui simplified and also the personality association, just amazing, unique dimension to fashion. This one is interesting. Wow. Interesting, amazing insight. It's just going on and on.
That's how I found it. When I first came across it, I thought, wow, this answered the question about, why I could look good in something but not feel good in it. There were certain things that prevented me from feeling the best that I could be, even though I knew I looked good. I look in the mirror, yeah. amazing, but I didn't feel it.
Right, right.
And for me, clothes are about feeling good as well as looking good. It has to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
It's late at night where you are.
No, it was totally worth it. And thank you so much for your time and, you know, taking us through this amazing topic. It was just, I'm speechless.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for asking me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. So yes, that's it for our today's session. And tomorrow we are going to have, you know, another topic, another speaker. So tomorrow's topic is really interesting. And can we have that on our screen? So you know these faces, and Rubleen Kaur and Shalini Baheti will be joining me, and we are going to have a panel discussion on fashion trends. It is going to be a Q&A session. Bring in your question, ask anything that you want to. We are going to also discuss the fashion industry and the trends in this situation that we are in. What is going to be the future? Because we all are asking that. And yeah, so let's just have a good round of question answer and ask these ladies that. So I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 7:30 p.m. on Facebook Live. And I hope you enjoyed today's session, as it was just amazing and wonderful for me. And I hope you all enjoyed today's session. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Good evening.